What's going on, everyone? How y'all doing? Welcome back. It's Monday. It's the 7th of April, and I want to talk about the Minecraft movie. I will fully admit I was wrong. Okay, I'm just going to start off by saying that I was absolutely wrong. I thought the movie was maybe not going to do as well as it did, because it broke literally all records, all video game feature length film adaptation records. This movie dominated. It was initially, I think, estimated at around like 65 million. It pulled in on a non-holiday weekend, but during spring break, like 163 million domestic, 301 million total worldwide, $150 million box office budget. Now, the quality of the movie, I watched it last night. I'll be honest with you guys. I happened to get sent a link to the unrendered version of the movie. If you don't know what that is, a copy of the film went up that has pre-visuals, and like, it's crazy. And I clicked on it out of curiosity, and I watched the whole thing, and I'll talk about the movie itself. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It's definitely for fans of Minecraft. The best way to describe the movie most likely is like, it's an ADHD experience. Basically, if you have ADHD, I think you'll like the movie a lot more. But one of the things I noticed, though, is leading up to the movie, we had a lot of conversation around the fact that the critics hated it, right? They gave it here 48% based on 126 reviews. And, they were like, oh, it's just a terrible movie. It's a terrible film. Who is this movie for? Is a question I saw brought up quite a bit. Worst movie of the year. Complete and utter trash. Like all of the usual stuff that critics like to say. And that's simply because critics are just, you know what, man, like they're just full of it. They don't get it anymore. They're so out of touch. Now, I got a blog post coming later on today over on Hwad.tv. Talking more about this, going more in depth about this. But a lot of it ties into, like look at Mario Brothers from 2 years ago, almost to the week, almost to the same type of Rotten Tomatoes score, slightly better, 58%, I believe. People out there saying like, where's the story? Where's the story? Why isn't its story better? Where's this, like all these critics just trashing Mario. And a lot of us, like myself, who grew up in the 80s, grew up playing Mario, loved the 93 movie despite its flaws, was like, what the hell is going on? And I went opening day first show to a packed theater. And I absolutely loved the Mario movie. I've watched it with my kids now so many times. And the Minecraft movie is one that I don't know if my kids are going to like because they don't play Minecraft. But they might enjoy it for its visuals and for its zaniness and everything else because it's designed for that group of people. You are not going to get Citizen Kane out of a Minecraft movie. And I think therein lies the problem. All right. Like I will admit, I went into watching the movie and I was like, all right, let's see how it is. All right, let's see how it goes. And I found myself pleasantly entertained by it. The story, dumb. The characters undercooked. I mean, with the exception really of Jason Momoa and the main kid. Other than that, whatever. And it's very rooted in simplicity. Like, why is Jennifer Coolidge there? You know what I mean? That's a B plot or a C plot to distract. It's just whatever, right? It's a simple movie. But it got the concept of what Minecraft is. It's just zany. And they played up a lot of the memes and they played up a lot of the tropes and there's a lot of Easter eggs in there and the fans lost their mind. Some so much so that the police were called. Although I do believe that was probably more like of a TikTok trend sort of thing. But when we look at the idea of these critics, when we look at the idea of Rotten Tomatoes as a whole, right? This kind of like algorithmically driven response, right? Or no, mathematically average. That's the word I wanted to use, right? It's more of an average of everything. And you're like, yeah, but do you guys even like movies anymore? That becomes the real question. I'm sorry. Like, I just want to say, like, that becomes the real question. do you even like movies anymore? If you're going into a Minecraft movie, a movie made legitimately to appease the bright colors, ADHD, potentially autistic side of all of us, it's like keys dangling in front of you the whole movie, but it's fast paced and it works. And it's 90 minutes. You're in, you're out. You know what I mean? It's like you're in, you're out, you're done. And then the kids have fun. And you get you get Jack Black singing multiple times throughout the movie. And that's always great. It's one of those things where it's like, you got to go and look at these people now and be like, how much do you hate your job? How much do you hate your life? How much are you just so tired of being a failed movie maker, whether it's a director, a writer, an actor, right? Like how much are you just like, you go to the bare minimum that you can do to not outright trash the movie in order to keep your studio access, because that's really what it boils down to. They can bash the movie, right? I mean, they can critique the film, but if they outright bash the movie and like go too hard on it, they lose their access. So they're not going to sit there and like, trash it, but they're going to go and like just give it a rotten review or whatever and move on with their day. I still think that largely people who watch movies want to do so because they love movies. And I get critics watch sometimes, tens, if not 20s, hundreds, maybe movies per month, maybe depending on the time of year. And their job is to have a take on every single one. And they want something to go on in there and to play up their bona fides, right? People, and so they can build up a reputation, so they can build up more bylines and more headlines, and they can get more jobs and everything else. I understand the process of it, but there's got to be a point in time when you look at everything that you review and you're like, if I only like these auteur-driven films, maybe I shouldn't review the big budget blockbusters, because those movies ain't my cup of tea. And I really feel that if you do not like a specific type of movie, like if you are adamantly against a specific type of movie, and you're going into that movie with a large chip on your shoulder, and you're not willing to let your guard down and be entertained, then you have no reason to even remotely talk about that movie. And I think if more and more of these outlets would actually like assign the critical reviews to people who enjoy those genres, we might actually get better critiques. Because what you have is a person who will then go into, let's say, a horror movie, and maybe it's not the best horror movie. There's like a lot of bad horror movies, okay? But they go, listen, I love the movie for what it was trying to do, what it was trying to say. Here are some of the critiques that I've got, but at the end of the day, it was actually a lot of fun, and you might enjoy it. Versus a person who only likes Wes Anderson movies going in to watch, I don't know, Terrifier 3. And they'll be like utter dreck, trash, slop, right? And you're like, well, then why the fuck did you even watch the movie? If you want to see the sepia tones of Wes Anderson, you go watch a Wes Anderson movie. A new trailer dropped for one of his films today. Go watch that. Enjoy your life doing that. And that ends up being the bigger problem here, is that I don't think these critics like what they do. I don't think these critics enjoy what they do. I don't think these critics enjoy watching movies. And I think that they have to for their job. And when your hobby and when your passion becomes your job and the joy leaves because it becomes work, and you have to kind of be this way, maybe it's time to look for something new. But oh no, they won't do that, because if they were to do that, then that would require them to actually, like become the dog that gets up off the nail and do something that doesn't take them to parties where food and beverage are covered, or maybe get travel to sets on the other side of the world with decent accommodations at a hotel in another country, or send all the swag that's early, or get to interview all the celebrities, or all of the access media things that they get, despite the fact that you can almost tell they hate everything about it. but it's easier than going to work at Kinko's or some shit like that. Anyway, your thoughts, let me know. I'll talk to you guys tonight on the live stream. Peace out.